Welcome to our weekly Forex forecast, and this is for trading for the week of January 20th to 24th, 2020. I was going to say 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So we'll go to Forex Factory. Let me just, where is my Forex Factory here? Okay. So let's take a look at what do we have coming up in terms of the news. Starting the week off here, we have German IFO business climate numbers out of the Eurozone here. So with so much focus on the economy these days, so if these numbers come in below expectations, we could see a negative impact on euro. So euro could drop if the numbers don't come in as expected. Actually, this is wrong. Sorry. Let's take a look again. All right, so Monday, January 20th, the dates were wrong. Okay, so what do we have here? We have Bank of Japan, actually, so nothing, the business numbers are the following week. But here we have Bank of Japan monetary policy statement. Here, Bank of Japan has, actually, they have been focusing on for quite some time now, expansionary monetary policy, which means they are always talking, or they're wanting their Japanese yen to be low. And if they continue on with this, then this will be negative for Japanese yen, which means yen crosses are likely to go up if the comments are more in regards of just supporting the economy by keeping the monetary policy expansionary. So that's on Monday. And then on Tuesday here, we have employment numbers out of UK here. Even though these are marked as yellow and orange here, these numbers are very important. They are similar to non-farm payroll numbers that come out in the US. So with these numbers here, we are looking at both or all of these numbers. We are interested in what the employment numbers are, as well as the average earnings index. So if the average earnings index numbers here are below what's expected here, that will have a negative impact on British pound, and we're likely to see a drop. And same thing applies to the earning numbers as well. And if one of them is positive, the other one is negative, then we'll have a muted reaction here because it'll cancel each other out. But overall, if the numbers are below expectations, we could have a negative impact on a British pound here. And also we heard from Bank of England, they are a little bit dovish as well. So if the numbers come in negative here, that will put more focus or more pressure on Bank of England to actually do something with the monetary policy, cut rates, or do some other type of monetary policy action. So this is why these numbers are important, especially after Bank of England statement. And then on Wednesday here, we have a ton of data on this day. We have CPI numbers. So this is an inflation number that the central banks, again, pay a lot of attention to. Bank of Canada is at an interesting place. Now, Fed has already cut rates. Bank of Canada generally kind of follows the Fed, and they haven't done any monetary policy action yet. So if these numbers are below the previous numbers here, this will put pressure again on Bank of Canada to do something. So this is why if the numbers come in below expectations, it'll be negative for Canadian dollar, which means a dollar CAD is likely to go up. And right after that, we also have Bank of Canada monetary policy statement. So at this point, we're not looking for an interest rate cut. However, Bank of Canada may do an interest rate cut this year. So this is why it will be very important to watch the language that they use in this announcement and the report. So do pay attention to that. We have Bank of Canada press conference about half an hour or right after that. So this is something to, again, pay attention. First, we generally see a reaction from the monetary policy, and then we see a reaction from the press conference. So just keep that in mind. And also, we have employment data out of Australia here. Same thing here. If the employment numbers are better than expected, it will be positive for Australian dollar, and Australian dollar is likely to go up under that scenario, and vice versa. On Thursday here, we have ECB, another monetary policy statement and press conference shortly after there. Same thing here. Euro or ECB has been talking about an expansionary monetary policy. They have taken some action, not quite as much as what Fed has done, but if they continue on the dovish tone here, especially keeping in mind how President Trump has been kind of talking about tariffs on the Eurozone. So if the bank is not are not feeling to go good about the economy, they don't forecast a lot of growth, then this could mean that they may even go below a negative, or they may do other type of monetary policy action, which always has a negative impact on currency. So anytime monetary policy action or monetary policy is expansionary, it's negative for the currency. So we could see euro drop. But if they're bullish on the economy and they're not concerned about it at this time, then euro could actually go up as a result. On Thursday, we also have CPI numbers for New Zealand. Same thing here, like we talked about Canada above. These numbers are one of the key numbers that the central banks will track. So anytime they're below expectations, it generally has a negative impact on the currency. On Friday here, we have tons of data, all PMI numbers. We have PMI numbers from the Eurozone. So PMI numbers are precursors to our retail sales. They are leading indicators from fundamentals perspective here. So they are very important. If the numbers start to drop here below expectations, it is always negative for that currency. So do watch out for that. So we have for PMI numbers for Eurozone, for the British pound, as well as and retail sales numbers for Canada here. And then we have flash manufacturing PMI numbers for the US. So PMI numbers glow everywhere. So just keep an eye on that. So expect a volatility here on Friday. All right, so with 2 central bank announcements and tons of PMI numbers, expect it to be a bit of a volatile week. All right, so let's go on to our charts now and see where we are sitting. We'll start off with our euro dollar here. With the euro, we see that price has been going down slowly. It's been trading in this range here for a bit. So for the past several weeks, it's been contained here, went into the resistance, and now it's on its way down. I do like this setup here, but keep in mind ECB can change things, especially if they're bullish, they can make the euro go up. So just be aware of that. But right now we have a nice bearish pin bar on the euro, which I really like. So bias is bearish for the euro. We could get a bit of a pullback here though into 1.1120, or maybe even slightly higher, but overall bias here is to the downside. And in terms of the target here, the first target is 1.1050. And then below that, we are looking at, let me just draw this out. So this is the type of move I am looking for. So first target would be 1.1050 and then 1.0980. This here is an important support level. So don't focus on making this or pushing this too much lower. Bias is to the downside, so bearish bias for euro dollar here. Pound dollar, pound has also given us a couple of pins. It hasn't been as stable as euro there, but overall it is making lower highs and we are seeing price drop. So bias is bearish here. This one here, just be careful. It is leaning a little bit towards neutral. bias here, but overall it is bearish. So in this case, again, I will look for a bit of a pullback and then a drop here. First target is 1.2900, and only if it goes through that level would I look for 1.2765. But definitely 1.2900 is the first target. And this is an important support level because this is where price pushed back all the way. So watch out for this level here. So question here, what is the deadline for Brexit? Deadline for Brexit is coming up towards the end of the week, sorry, end of the month here. So keep an eye on pound. This is why pound has been volatile lately. So if you're trading the British pound, any of the British pound crosses, just expect that volatility. Aussie dollar here, we have a bearish bias, nice bearish pin bar here as well. So bias again to the downside, watch out for a bit of a pullback into 0.6900. First target is 0.6840, and then we are looking at 0.6800. So bias is bearish here for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar here, similar thing, not quite as nice a candle close though, but still bearish. It's been making lower highs here as well. So bias is bearish in terms of our target here. 0.6550 is the first target, and then 0.6520 is the second target. So bias here is bearish for New Zealand dollar as well. Dollar CAD here, this one has been pushing up a little bit. Now we have a small candle close here for this week, but this is Bank of Canada week here as well. And anytime there's a central bank monetary policy statement, it can turn things around. Just watch out for that. If Bank of Canada is dovish on the economy, so they forecast, the forecast is basically if they drop the forecast, then that will be negative for Canadian dollar, which means dollar CAD could go up. But if they feel that the economy will be strong going into 2020, then that will push the Canadian dollar. That will push the Canadian dollar up, which means dollar CAD will drop in that case. So just keep that in mind. But for now, based on just purely the technicals alone here, bias is bullish here for dollar CAD. But do keep in mind, there is this resistance right here at 1.3135 area. So bias is bullish. First target 1.3135, second target 1.3200 for dollar CAD. Euro pound here, this one has just been stuck in a range here for several weeks now. The candle close here, we see that price went into the high of the range, dropped right into the middle here, and now we could see it go back down. But just be careful with this one. Bias is neutral. I would look for price to maybe drop towards the bottom of the range and then go back into the middle of the range. So neutral bias here for Euro pound. Euro Swiss franc here, this one has had quite a drop here. So bias is bearish. Now with such a big drop, many times we can get pullbacks, and especially with ECB coming up, if euro strengthens because of ECB, this is likely to go up as well. But based on the candle close here, bias is bearish, and we are fairly close to the first target here. With this one here, just keep in mind, because we are close to the support area, it could turn around and go into this pullback and then do one of these. So that would be the caution here. Overall bias still remains to the downside. Target is 1.0660, but just be mindful of the support level that it's approaching at the moment, because this one can bounce off from there, but bearish bias overall. Pound Swiss franc here, this one as well, we did see it drop again. It's been volatile because of the Brexit stuff here. Now with this, that's what I'm expecting here, a bit of a pullback into 1.2620, and then I will look for a further drop, 1.2465. So bias here is bearish for pound Swiss franc. Dollar Swiss franc here, this one has dropped into the support area here and then pushed back from there. So bias still is to the downside. However, just be cautious. If US dollar is strong, this one can push up higher here. What I would look for here would be a pullback, potential pullback into 0.9700, and if it stays below, I will look for a drop again. So overall bias is bearish, but with caution. All right, so moving on to the yen crosses here. Pound yen here, it's still holding. Yen crosses or yen itself has not been very strong. The equity markets are going up overall. Fed has been putting liquidity into the market, which is pushing the markets up, and the equity markets have also been positive because of the US and China trade deal, as well as the tensions going away between US and Iran. So overall, equity markets like the stability. Okay, so sorry, equity markets like stability. That's why equity markets been going up. And when the investor sentiment is positive, safe haven currencies and assets drop. So that's why yen has not been very strong. But what we see here with pound yen is that we see a rejection of the high, which means we could see a drop. Price has been trading in this range for last several weeks. So if it's rejected the high, I will look for price to drop further down. So this is the type of a move I'm looking for. So basically it is range bound, but looking for price to come and test the bottom of the range. We could get a pullback into 143.50 back into the support resistance area. So watch out for that. But bias is bearish. Euro yen here, this one. Also, we see a rejection here. So this is where price has been trading here. Again, this has been range bound for a bit here. Now, price has rejected the high. There is still bullishness, a little bit of bullishness in this candle, so watch out for that. We could get a retest of the high once again, but as long as it stays below that 122.80 area, I will look for a drop, potentially back towards this 120.20 level. So bias here again for euro yen is to the downside. Dollar yen here, this one has been pushing higher, and we see that price has gone through this resistance level, which means this one could go higher. So bias here is bullish. US dollar did well last week, and as a result, we have seen dollar yen go up as well. So bullish bias here. Next target is 110.65, and only if it goes through that 111. So bullish bias for dollar yen. Aussie yen is also showing signs of resistance, or sorry, signs of weakness. It went into the resistance here, and we have a pin bar, so I'm looking for it to drop. 74.80 will be the first target, and then 73.80 is the second target. And as we can see again, for several weeks now, price has been stuck in this range. So looking for it to drop further here. So bias is bearish for Aussie yen. First target here is 74.80, 73.80 is the second one. All right, so moving on to New Zealand yen here. New Zealand yen also trading in a range for the last several weeks here. It's been stuck in this range. We see that price didn't quite make it all the way into the high, and it has turned from there. So this one, I would say bias is still for this one as well to the downside, but I would be cautious with this one because there is a pin in the bottom, which means it's not really committed to the downside at this point. So watch out for that, but bearish bias towards the bottom of the range is what I'm looking for here. Target is 71.20 for New Zealand yen. Okay, the last one in the yen category here, CAD yen. CAD yen has done well, and we have seen a bullish move here, just like dollar yen, CAD yen is also looking bullish. But with CAD here, we do have Bank of Canada. So just keep that in mind. If you're trading any Canadian dollar crosses, Bank of Canada monetary policy announcement will have an impact and can disrupt that trade. But right now, this one is looking bullish, and we could see it go higher. It is into resistance, so watch out for that. This is a good support resistance level, so it could turn here, but for now it is making higher highs. It is looking bullish. Overall bias is to the upside. Target is 85.20. All right, so moving on now, let's take a look at our commodities. Okay, silver here. Let's take a look at the week. So silver's been all over the place, went all the way into the high here, and now it's just going sideways. The bias here is neutral for silver. Hasn't really made much of a dent either way. Looking at the daily here, we see that price went into this resistance at 18.15, but it's kind of bouncing off of that. So from daily perspective, this one could drop a bit. However, overall though, it's still trading in this range. So my bias is neutral. I would look for price to just trade in the range. This one could come down towards 17.65, and then it could bounce from that. So I'm looking for a range bound move in silver this week, and target is 17.65, but watch out for that bounce from that level. Gold here, gold went up, and then now we see that it is kind of stuck here. So it bounced off of this support level. It's still holding up, but it's not looking too good either. It doesn't seem to really know where it wants to go at this point. Still holding on to the gains though. So I would say neutral bias for this one here as well. And the moves don't look very strong. We could see it sort of bounce between 1535 and then 1565. But if it moves through either of these levels, then we could either see it go up, or if it bounces through the bottom here, then this one could break to the downside. For now though, my bias is neutral. Wait and see for now. And then oil here. Oil is slowly making its way up after that huge drop here, but it doesn't look very solid at the moment. It came into the support now, bouncing off of it a bit. So at this point, let's go back to the daily. So this one could go a little bit higher here into 59.20, but right now I am neutral on this. Again, this one as well, we'll have to follow more on the daily basis and see what's going on from day to day to really see what kind of direction it wants to move in. For now though, my bias is neutral. I think this one could go into 59.20, but I think again, because it doesn't have much strength here, it could bounce back down from there as well. So I would suggest just keep an eye on it on the daily basis. Copper. Copper had gone up. It is into resistance now. This is where prices bounced a lot from this level. So this is a strong support resistance level. Looks like it's bouncing off of that level right now. But this one, it's also been stuck in a bit of a range here. So what I would look for in this case would be a bit of a move higher into 2.82 potentially, and then a drop towards 2.70. So looking for a move back towards the bottom of the range here. Target is 2.71. Bitcoin here. Bitcoin has been going up, bounced off of the support level here. Looks bullish at the moment. It is coming into resistance, so just be mindful of that. But it is looking strong. So I would say potentially a pullback into 84.50 level, but bias is bullish. So first target is 91.20 and then second target 95.50. So for now, bias is bullish for Bitcoin. Oh, just to note here, I do not have the currently updated or the chart from the weekend. So just keep that in mind, because things do change over the weekend in Bitcoin. So make sure you take a look at that. But for now, based on this, bias is bullish. All right, commodities here. We are on a big roller coaster, or I would say we're on the ascent of the roller coaster. It's been crazy bullish here with all the positive stuff that we talked about earlier. Everything's been bullish in terms of our equities here. So with this one, again, bullish bias still continues, and first target here would be 3,400 will be the first target here for S&P 500, and then I would say 35 will be the next target. So bullish bias here. Where are we? Quite a bit there. Yeah, so let's go for 34.50 actually. That's easier. So bullish bias here for S&P 500, still looking quite strong. Nasdaq, same thing here. It's been just one-way street and it's all the way up. Now, just a note of caution here. Stuff's taking off here like crazy when personally, I don't feel there is the actual valuations in the company to support it at this moment. When this type of stuff happens, it can also reverse. So just always keep that in mind. When stuff takes off like this, it can also come back down. But right now, looking quite bullish. And the target here I will look at would be 93.80 and then 9400 for Nasdaq. So bullish bias here for Nasdaq as well. Same thing here for our Dow Jones, bullish bias here. So let's take a quick peek at the daily. So watch out for a bit of a pullback here into 29,000, but it is looking bullish. And from target perspective, this one is very likely to go to 30,000. So bullish bias here for Nasdaq as well. All right, so looking at DAX here, DAX has gone through this resistance level. It's gotten past the range that it was stuck in for quite some time, and now bias is bullish here. Let's zoom out and see where we are. Yeah, this is also into the highs here. So bullish bias here. And in terms of the target, I would look at, so first target would be 13,600 will be the first target here. And then 13,800 will be the second target I would look at. But overall bias is bullish for DAX as well. FTSE is also moving higher here. It is into resistance, but overall it's holding this move to the upside. So bullish bias here. Do keep in mind it is into resistance. This is where it had turned, but it's looking strong at the moment. So bullish bias here. Next target is 77.20. And then we're looking at 77.80. So bullish bias here for FTSE as well. And last but not least here, Nikkei. Nikkei is looking bullish as well. Now with this one, it is still in the range. It hasn't gotten past the range like we saw with DAX and FTSE. So keep that in mind. We are coming close to the resistance, which means this one could turn here and come back into the range. But bias is bullish. That will be the word of caution. But if everything else goes up, all the other equities indices are going up, this one will also move up with them. So for now, bullish bias here, next target 24,480. So bias is bullish. Okay, so we have, there was a question, but to answer your question there, Bumblebee, I don't really look at all of these crosses, so I don't really have the charts for them at this point. So it will be a little bit challenging. If you would like to get the forecast spreadsheet that I produce, where in the spreadsheet I'll have all the pairs that we talked about, including the commodities and indices as well, where I mentioned all the pullback levels as well as the targets that we just discussed in one spreadsheet. You can get that. You can go to tradingwithvenus.com/forecast. To download that spreadsheet. If you have already subscribed to this list once, you don't need to do it again because you will automatically receive it on a weekly basis in your email. And just a quick little announcement here. So you will see more emails and further information from me on this, as we have done for the last 2 years. I will be doing another Turning Pro Challenge this year as well. But for all the details, it will start on February the 3rd, which I believe is Monday. So in 2 weeks time or so here, we will start with that. So if you are ready to work on your trading business, I would say join me. It will be free like we did the first year around. So I will not be doing live training. Now, there will be some differences between what you will get if you are part of my my membership, I suppose, but those details will be coming. But if you do want to join me for free, that is always that is an option, definitely, for sure. So get ready. We will get started with that on February the 3rd. So that's it for today. Have a wonderful trading week, and I'll see you next. Actually, I do the daily analysis as well, so I'll see you tomorrow.